Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more waterfowl patterning. And I've got a combination out here today that I've got some decently high hopes for. It's definitely a setup that we've already tested once or twice and it has shown some pretty decent performance. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what it does with these particular loads. Speaking of those loads, what I've brought out here today are some of the Federal Speed-Shok Steel loads here. These are a 12 gauge 2 3/4 inch ounce and an eighth of steel number 2s, and they say they want to be going 1375. So definitely not the fastest waterfowl load out there, but it would definitely get the job done for you. And as for the setup I've got out here today, I brought out this guy. This is my Mossberg 835 Ulti-Mag here. And I threw in this choke. This is the stock modified choke, which has shown some really good patterns with steel loads so far from what we've tested. And modified is typically what I like to run anyway when I'm shooting steel like this. So we'll see what kind of performance we get out of it today. So with that being said, the testing is going to be the same as usual. I have the duck target set up over here at 40 yards. I also have the chronograph, so we'll see what kind of speed we're getting and how close it is to the box posted velocity. So let's get you guys a view of this target. I wish the colors would show up a little bit better on these duck targets, but they just don't, unfortunately. So it's about as good as we're going to get, really, as far as you guys being able to see the impacts right away. But we'll shoot the shot, we'll glance at what kind of chrono number we have, and then we'll go take a closer look at it. So let's get you guys a view of this target and shoot these things and see what this kind of combination does here and if it would be a pretty good duck combination or not. Okay, so that shell gave us 1160 through the chrono. Remember, the box was claiming 1375, so that is definitely moving pretty slow for a steel duck load like that. I typically like 1400 or above for my personal taste, but I mean, it still would have gotten the job done. Now, with it being steel at that velocity, you're definitely losing some energy, especially down at 40 yards. So I would have definitely liked to have seen a little bit higher velocity on that one. But that doesn't mean it performed terribly downrange either. So let's head down there and see what kind of pattern we got out of it. Okay, so now we're downrange here looking at our 40-yard paper, and this is the result that we got out of it here. Now, we absolutely do have a dead duck here. There's 3 right there going through his breast area, and there's another one that clipped front of his brain up there, and several more throughout the wings there. So we absolutely have a dead duck on that one. Now, with that being said, as we look at the rest of the pattern there, we do have some little gaps and voids. Now, with it being 2s, you definitely don't get as much shot in the actual shell like you would a big 3-inch shell or a 3.5-inch shell of like 4s or something like that. So you are starting to get a little bit of a pellet count loss on this guy, but with that being said, it's still not bad at all. Anywhere around that duck, there's not really a spot for him to fly. I mean, if he flies forward here, he's hit by those pellets. If he was up a little bit higher, he got into a couple there, or a little bit behind, there's a couple there as well. So you would have had some wiggle room on this guy. Now, do I think it's the best pattern we've ever seen? No, not for a waterfowl load out of that gun, but it would absolutely get the job done. But that's if you have enough energy, being that it's only 1100 feet per second up there at the muzzle. But ultimately, it's not a terrible pattern. It's not the best pattern either. There are some voids, but it would have gotten the job done. So I don't know. This is kind of average, I guess. You can take it or leave it, really. But I did expect a little bit better, to be honest with you. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about it. It would have gotten the job done, but it's definitely not the best we've seen. Okay, and here's the wad out of that shell. And as you can see, opened up pretty much perfectly. There's nothing stuck down in there, and there's no rips or tears or anything like that to be concerned about. So definitely looks perfectly fine in this case here. So nothing really too special to see on this one. Alright y'all, well, what do you think about that performance? It's an okay pattern. It would have absolutely been a dead duck there, I do believe. However, with that low of a velocity up there, only being 1100 and something, you are definitely losing some energy down here at 40 yards. There's no question about that. So I definitely would have liked to have seen a little bit higher velocity out of that load to be able to carry that energy, but the pattern isn't terrible, I wouldn't say. I don't think it's the best we've seen, but it is number 2s, which are a little bit larger, so you get less pellets downrange and so on, but it's definitely a good enough pattern. But let me know your thoughts about it all. Would you use this combination? Have you had any experience with those shells or anything like that? And if so, what kind of patterns have you seen out of them? So as always, leave your thoughts about it all in the comments and let me know what you think. And with that being said, we're about to get rained on unexpectedly, I believe. They weren't calling for it today, so I'm going to pack my stuff up before I get absolutely poured on. So stay tuned, because we've got plenty more stuff coming. We do have an Instagram now as well that I'll leave in the description if you would like to go over there and check it out for sneak peeks and updates and things like that. But with that being said, I'm going to get my stuff packed up before I get drenched out here. So I'll see y'all in the next one.